morning, and welcome to 30-Minute Reviews. I am Adam. Today we are here to discuss Dragon Ball Super, Broly. Now, here's the thing. I saw this movie. I was going to watch it this week, and then I was flipping through the TV last night when I got home, and I flipped through Stars, and there it was, Broly. So I didn't have to go on the Stars app and watch it. I could just watch it directly through Stars on broadcast. Like, you know, traditional, regular, how TV used to be watched before the age of streaming. So I watched that last night, and first and foremost, I want to address Cablevision, because I thought it was just something wrong with the stream, because, like, my parents watch a lot of old TV. They'll watch reruns of old television, and then DVR other stuff at night. I figured that a lot of the pixelation that was happening was a result of said, of said differences. Like, okay, this is an old show, so we're going to, it's going to be pixelated because maybe it's a poor broadcast, and the other thing is the shows that they're watching aren't on, like, major networks or anything like that. They're being broadcast on similar band as other shows. And other networks. I think that, like, MeTV, for example, is broadcast on the same band as NBC. But either way, like, when it would pixelate and stuff, I thought that was just an issue with with that channel. It's not. It is a Cablevision issue. I have to look at the settings today after work. I'm going to be like, well, why is this not handling? Because this TV has 120 hertz. It should be able to handle some very basic, like, some very basic, like, you know, just broadcasting a standard HD movie. I'm not trying to get into 4K or anything, but it should be able to handle a standard HD movie. But the problem is it's not doing that. It is pixelating during action sequences, which, alright, whatever. And other times too, but it's just there's so little motion when there isn't action sequences in this movie that you don't notice it as much. But when it gets to action sequences, which the movie devolves into pretty quickly, it's kind of hard to watch on broadcast Cablevision. Had I watched it on my phone, I probably would have had a better experience, which is a weird thing to say, considering by all accounts, everywhere else, that is not the case. If you watch it usually on a smaller screen, it won't be as good. Here, it's the exact opposite. Here, it's, if you don't watch it, if you watch it on your phone, you're probably better off. But that's only if you have Cablevision and you're watching it on broadcast on Stars, which is what I do. Now that's out of the way. The other issue that I encountered with this movie is that if someone is going to watch this movie, they're probably already fans of the franchise. And what I mean by that is, if someone's to go out of their way to watch a Dragon Ball Z movie, they're already pre-sold. Now, the Dragon Ball Z movies that came out during the run of Dragon Ball Z were never canon. So, like, Fusion Reborn, Broly Legendary Super Saiyan, Broly Returns, all of those are not, they're not canon. It's not like they ever played into the saga at large. No characters ever, did anything in there that would count as massive power increases or anything like that. So doing Broly for this movie kind of makes sense. And the thing is, too, if they're trying to sell it as a theatrical release, what's the easiest way to get people to go and see this movie? You put in a character, a known quantity that people already know. Everyone everyone knows Broly already. Everyone loves Broly already. Broly is he has a fan base. And yeah, you're going to take largely the same story, but you're going to make some changes to modernize it and make the story function a little bit better and cleaner. So when I watch this movie, the issue is we're retreading a lot of the same ground. We are going back through and doing a lot of the things that we have already done in the past. And what I mean by that is, if I'm watching, what's I'm looking for here? If I'm watching this movie, I likely already know the Superman-esque origin of Goku. I know that Bardock had a vision of the future and was able to see that Frieza was going to come and destroy the Saiyans. I know that Bardock attempts to have a revolt against Frieza to kind of push him forward, to stop him from destroying the Saiyans and Planet Vegeta. I know all of this. And I know that fails, the Planet Vegeta is destroyed, Vegeta's off-world when it happens, Goku's off-world when it happens. There are a few other select Saiyans who are off-world when it happens, but this is, that is largely what happens there. So, the problem becomes, now that I know all of this, what does it mean? Why are we re-showing all this stuff? That's what it means for me. Like in Superhero, which I'm seeing Friday, and there'll be a beware of spoilers up for that on Friday, after I see it. I'm not seeing it in 4DX, I'm seeing it in their version of Dolby at Showcase Cinemas, but whatever. That movie is being, that movie is, if it has more backstory to it, I can understand that a little bit better. Because of how heavily the Red Ribbon Army ties in, and the Red Ribbon Army plays a very small role in the grand scheme of things in Dragon Ball Z. Not a lot of people watched Dragon Ball, the original, that ran for 6 seasons. Most people are familiar with Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and now Dragon Ball Super. So, if they go into the Red Ribbon Army and they try to do that, I can understand a little bit more if they go into Goku's backstory with the Red Ribbon Army. That said, here we don't need the 40 minutes of backstory on Krypton telling us what happens before Superman gets jettisoned to Earth. And Zod is screaming, "I will find him," while being sent into a dick pod to be launched into space. It's a weird kind of situation, where it's like it wasn't needed in Man of Steel, it's not needed here, it's especially not needed here because Man of Steel, like, I can buy it a little bit more in Man of Steel, because the movie-going audience hasn't seen Superman's origin story on the big screen, because I'm pretty sure they covered it in Smallville, but they haven't seen it cinematically since 78, when the Christopher Reeve Superman that came out, directed by Richard Donner. I can buy that a little bit more. I think that you're not going to get new converts going to a Dragon Ball Super movie, considering it's the 4th series of the show that's doing that. So all of that said, the other issue I have is everything that happens in the second half of the movie, when Broly and Paragus and Frieza come to Earth, is so it feels like the kind of thing that would be spread out over almost an entire arc. Like, it feels like what would have been the Frieza arc of Dragon Ball Z, which was, I think, season 3. Right, because season 4 was androids. Season 3 would have been Frieza, where Frieza gets incrementally more powerful, and keeps fighting people. And they get incrementally more powerful. But in kind of that same thing, it all kind of happens over the course of, like, 45 minutes. So, I don't want to say you feel shortchanged, because it's not like you have a tremendous amount of story happening, but it definitely feels weird to go through all of that quickly, where, without much explanation either. Like, the movie trusts you enough going into it to know that Broly is a legendary Super Saiyan, and as such can hold his own against Goku, even though Goku's had this tremendous power increase. And I think that's something that the show doesn't really address, is, like, Broly, while on whatever planet it was called where he was living, didn't have all the stuff that Goku did, where, like, Goku had, he got stronger when he fought Vegeta, he died and came back, he went to, he went Super Saiyan, which boosted his power. He trained and trained and trained, even, like, got to the point where Super Saiyan was not a hazard to his energy, where you can just be in Super Saiyan permanently, without worrying about his energy. And yeah, that was partially because it was cheaper for inking costs, because Goku's hair was black, and in a black and white comic, it was easier to just do white hair to represent blonde, and that would be Super Saiyan Goku. But him staying Super Saiyan all the time increased his power. Him almost dying multiple times increased his power. Everything that happened with Boo increased his power. And he got to the point where he's fighting and he's more powerful now than he's ever been before. And then that doesn't even go into the stuff that happened in Battle of the Gods, where he went Super Saiyan God in the attempt to take down Beerus. And he goes Super Saiyan God again in this movie, and my thing is, I could have swore, and it's been a while since I watched the movie, but I could have swore, maybe the show retconned it, but I could have swore they said that Super Saiyan God was a form that you didn't need to use more than once. As in, once you did it the first time, you were set then. Your power became that permanently. I could have swore that was the case. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe I'm not thinking about the show in the right context. But I could have swore that was the case. That once you went Super Saiyan God, you were just that power level from then on. Even if you were, not as powerful. Like, that was just your baseline became that. And then going Super Saiyan above that put you into, an even higher level. But, and then, like I said, we get this understanding that, like, okay, so you're here seeing Dragon Ball Super Broly, so we don't have to explain how Broly can do this, because Broly's just a legendary Super Saiyan. But at the same time, that's the only thing that they think that you don't need to have re-explained to you. Like, Bardock, there was such a weird period where Bardock's origin and Bardock got retconned so often. That they told the story of Bardock, then they did another one-off. I remember I read it when it did its initial run in Shonen Jump. And there was the issue where it was a one-off where he gets sent back in time, and then, like, Frieza's ancestor comes to whatever planet he ends up on, which is, like, early planet Vegeta before the Saiyans evolved, and he becomes a Super Saiyan, and that's what tells Frieza to it's kind of like a circular, is it a circular paradox or no, I don't know. But he goes back in time, and that causes Frieza to fear the Super Saiyan, because the Super Saiyan beat the shit out of his of his ancestor, which is kind of funny, actually. It'd be like if someone went back in time and like, beat the crap out of your grandfather. And it's like, alright, now I gotta be afraid of that guy forever, in case he comes back. I don't know. I feel like there's definitely, like, this movie definitely could have been better if they cut all of that out. And then, again, the anticlimax of this, and then I would say also Resurrection F. These movies end on a very anticlimactic note, where it's like, the problem is, when you create someone this powerful, like the first time they did Broly, they did, what's it called? When they did Broly the first time, it was, what was the word I'm looking for? Legendary, when they did it in Legendary Super Saiyan, it took, like, a Spirit Bomb-esque punch for Goku to, and again, I feel like that's something that they just kind of forget about, is that Goku has a Spirit Bomb, but it required a Spirit Bomb-esque punch to beat him, where they had to send, where it's like everyone had to send their energy to Goku, and then Goku just popped him in the chest, and then that killed him. But if that's the case, like, do that again, or like have the fusion be a better way to finish him off. Well, I mean, they did finish him off, but then they whisked him away so that way he can come back again. And I feel like that was an interesting approach, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I feel like there was a better way to handle it without being like, we're going to wish him away and hope for the best. And then we'll have him back another time if we want him in another episode. But yeah, I just feel like that was kind of anticlimactic, in the same way that, like, Vegeta finally got a chance to do something cool in Resurrection F, and then got his ass handed to him, and then time travel, and then Goku gets to beat Frieza again. Like, it just kind of doesn't feel right. That said, I'm gonna watch Superhero this weekend, or Friday. This has not dissuaded me from seeing that movie. I'm still very interested to see what that does. I've heard certain characters coming back. Look, I just want to see a good movie. Hopefully it's better. Like, visually, I had some problems with this movie where it's like, anytime it wasn't action sequences, it didn't look very good. Like, I think that was my biggest problem with the movie, is that anytime they weren't doing an action sequence, the movie just didn't look great. There was this weird, like, boxiness to it. And maybe that was just my TV. Because, like I said in the beginning of this, my broadcast wasn't the best. I probably was better off streaming it through Stars, instead of using the Stars broadcast. But we'll wrap up there for today. I think we've covered enough for Dragon Ball Super Broly. We will be back with our mid-year top 5 this coming Sunday, with at least one guest, if not 2. I think we've lined up everything, and we have everything scheduled out, but that will be this Sunday. Yeah, I think that's it. If you are listening to Beware of Spoilers as well, we have an episode about Beast, which will be probably Saturday at this point. And then Friday we have that other show. Fuck. What the fuck was it called? The other show. She-Hulk. Right. She-Hulk. Depends on when I watch it. Maybe Thursday evening. Maybe Friday morning. We'll see. But until then, have a great rest of your week.